Welcome to a new chapter from Sidecast. This is me, Sufna Xavier, from the Department of English, Carmel College, Mala. So, today we are going to discuss the chapter Should the Assassin of Gandhi Be Killed, which is written by Pearl S. Buck. So, before moving into the chapter, let's have an introduction to the author Pearl S. Buck. Pearl S. Buck was an American novelist who was born in the year 1892 and died in the year 1975. She spent a major part of her life in China as the daughter of missionaries. She turned to writing in the late 1920s when both her parents were in bad health. Writing helped her overcome the psychological depression and the financial crisis of the family. So writing was much more like a therapy for her. Her first novel is East Wind, West Wind, which came out in the year 1930, and her next novel, The Good Earth, earned her a Pulitzer Prize in 1932. This essay, Should the Assassin of Gandhi Be Killed, is actually an obituary note written in the context of Mahatma Gandhi's death. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, who said, "My life is my message," was the greatest pacifist who lived in the turbulent 20th century. The assassination of Gandhi had evoked strong reaction in many notable writers and statesmen across the globe, and Pearl S. Buck was no exception. Her comment was that Gandhi was always right, and he was the voice of conscience in our turbulent life. This obituary, Should the Assassin of Gandhi Be Killed, is written in the context of her having never met Gandhiji. The extract reveals how and why the charismatic leader touched the heart and soul of the world. So let's move on to the article, Should the Assassin of Gandhi Be Killed? Gandhi is dead. His ashes are scattered in the waters and over the earth of India. The indomitable frame, the fearless spirit, the long years, the high purpose, all were ended so easily. It was over in one instant. The shot of a gun, and only silence is left. Silence and a handful of ashes. In this beginning paragraph, the author is expressing the shock of Gandhiji's death. She is beginning the essay with the sentence, Gandhi is dead. It's very short, the sentence is very short, but it expresses the shock with which she hears, or the world hear, the news of Gandhiji's death. His ashes are scattered in the waters and over the earth of India. The sadness, the shock is scattered all around India. The indomitable frame, the fearless spirit, the long years, the high purpose, all were ended so easily. Each phrase in this sentence defines the life of Gandhi, the indomitable frame, the fearless spirit, the long years of struggle, the high purpose for this nation. Gandhiji was all this. He had this kind of indomitable frame. His life had such an indomitable frame, and that fearless spirit, and the long years of non-violence and struggle, the high purpose and high vision for India, all were ended so easily. It was over in one instant. It didn't take much time. It was over in one instant. It was sudden. The shot of a gun, and only silence is left. Silence and a handful of ashes. This is a powerful picture of Gandhiji's death. Let me move on to the next paragraph. It is no wonder that the ignorant, the stupid, the inventors of atom bombs, the generals, the captains, the sergeants, the little soldiers are the lovers of violence. All that they fear, all that they hate, all who rebel against them can be so easily ended. The movement of a finger upon a trigger, upon a button, a flash, a blast, and all that remain are silence and ashes. Today, a million can be killed as easily as a thousand as easily as one. So here, the writer is wondering why the ignorant, the stupid, the inventors of atom bombs, the generals, the captains, the surgeons, why they love violence and why they use atom bomb? Because they can finish their enemies within the flash of a second using these atom bombs. Just a movement of a finger upon a trigger, they can finish anything. They can remove anything from the surface of the earth. That's why, maybe because of this particular feature of the atom bomb, these people are so fond of using them that they can finish their enemies so quickly. Gandhi was only one. His voice was single, always gentle, always reasoning. It was the voice of conscience in our turbulent life. He was right, and he knew he was right. We all knew he was right. The man who killed him knew he was right. However long the follies of the violent continue, they but prove that Gandhi was right. Here she explains the uniqueness of this figure, Gandhi. Gandhi was only one. There is only Gandhi. His voice was single, always gentle, always reasoning. He spoke with a rational mind. It was the voice of conscience in our turbulent life, in our complex life. This voice reminds us about the conscience. We need to look into ourselves. So it reminds us the importance of looking into ourselves. He was right, and he knew he was right. We all knew he was right, and the man who killed him, even the man who killed him, the murderer, he knew that he was right. Even then, he killed him. However long the follies of violence continue, they but prove that Gandhi was right. So even the time, it also proves that Gandhi was right. His values was right, and his words were right. Nonviolence is the only common sense for human beings. We die so easily. Our bodies are soft and unprotected. The brain, the heart, the soul are perilously lodged. We cannot wait for peace to be made, for arguments to be settled, for the quarrelsomeness of selfish men to subside. Before that settlement comes, life is over. At all cost, Gandhi said, we must refuse to use violence. Resist to the very end, he said, but without violence. So here the writer is explaining the importance of non-violence. Non-violence is the only common sense for human beings. So Gandhi believed that non-violence is the only way through which human beings can fight for the freedom or fight for the good of humanity. So it is the only common sense for human beings. There is no other option than this. We can't opt any other option other than non-violence. We die so easily. Our bodies are soft and unprotected. The brain, the heart, the soul are perilously lodged. So here she explains the mortality of the humankind, of the living creatures. Our life is so short. We die so easily. We cannot wait for peace to be made, for arguments to be settled, for the quarrelsomeness of selfish men to subside. We can't wait for peace to come to us. We need to make peace for ourselves. We can't expect others to come and make peace for us. It is our duty to make peace and sustain peace in our lives. Before that settlement comes, life is over. We can't wait till the settlement comes. At all cost, Gandhi said, we must refuse to use violence. We stop violence. We should stop violence. He said that. Resist to the very end, he said, but without violence. Thank you, everyone. Let's continue the discussion in another video. Thank you.